and it will prepare you for whatever ministry God calls you to next. We want to equip you with knowledge and tools you need to confidently fulfill the calling that God has put on your life. Learn more at wbs.edu. That's wbs.edu.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today's Issues, the name of this radio program. On this Wednesday, May the 8th, 2024. Hope you're having a nice day. My panel has assembled.
Avengers assemble.
Is that what they say in that?
Yeah, that was a big line in some of the Avengers movies.
So who are the four Avengers? Are there more than four?
There's more than four, but
who are the four main ones?
The four main ones, as the old kind of Marvel universe started,
yes,
was Captain America, okay, Iron Man, Thor, and good grief, was it the Hulk?
Yep.
Then there was Hawkman and
there's probably 15 of them now.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
So I think those were the main six.
Black Widow, I thought that was a woman.
It was. It is. Sir.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. It is in this. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, who are you in this, Ed Vitagliano? You're wearing green.
I'm wearing
green.
The Hulk. I am the Incredible Bulk.
I want to be Captain America.
Bulk.
I want to be All right, Ed Vitagliano, Wesley Wildman, and Christopher Woodward.
Good morning.
A.K.A. Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on,
who's coming up later on?
We'll have Alex McFarland.
Aquaman,
that's it.
That's what we call Alex, Aquaman.
He's the DC universe.
Oh, right.
He's not in the Marvel universe.
Team.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always that guy.
He'll be on at the 10:30 mark, and then Steve Jordahl, the last half of the hour.
Steve
Paisley
Jordahl.
See, he already has his nickname. He already has his.
Right, he's his superhero of fashion.
Fashion, that's right. He's one of those that can blend into the wall. What is that? Do we have a character for that blends into its surroundings?
Superhero.
He's the Incredible Wallflower. You just never know he's there until he springs into action.
That's it. Yeah.
Based on my height, I'm Ant-Man. Clearly, I'm not better.
Ant-Man.
All right. Well, we hope we've added to your day, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
The last 2 minutes. Here.
It doesn't get better either.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
We probably lost half, and they're not.
Now
the other half.
Hey, listen, if you've been listening to this show for long, you know what you're getting.
That's
so you sign up for it. You're the one that downloads the podcast.
About a C minus. About a C minus.
Yeah, pretty big podcast numbers, so evidently people want to waste their time.
Is
that what you're saying, Wesley?
No, they learn a few things on this program.
Along the way.
Well,
right?
Your dad told you one day anything over a 70 is just a wasted effort, right?
I can't remember. Well,
he said something like that.
My dad, your grandfather.
Yeah.
Yes, he had
good
moderate expectations of his oldest son.
Now I can't remember. Was that just for you or for everyone? I think that may just been for you.
I think that was just for me.
Yeah, I think that was just for you.
Yeah. Moderate expectations.
I've told this one before.
That's what I wanted to hear.
I'll tell it again real quick, and then we'll get on to the depressing news of the day.
Yes, that's what I'm here for.
Okay. So anyway, my dad, God bless him, may he rest in peace. He passed in December, but a wonderful man. Love my dad, but we were. This is 20 years ago or so. We were in his den 25 years ago, and he was. I have two sisters and a brother. They're all younger than me, right? Yeah. My brother's 8 years younger than me, and we have a great relationship. But anyway, my dad goes, all right, he was frustrated about something with my brother. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he said, yeah. And I'm sitting in the den. I'm sitting right there beside him.
Yeah.
My dad. It's just me and my dad. And he goes, yeah, your brother, he said, I'm just frustrated with him. Of all my children, he had the best brain. And I said, Dad, I'm sitting right here. Can you at least wait till I leave? Or you
He
and
said,
talk-
"Am I telling you something you don't know?"
Just talk to Mom about that. That's not something you say in front of me.
Yes.
Of all my kids.
He had the best brain. So he was
All my kids, your brother had the best brain.
he was saying that he was not living
Right,
up
he
to
was
his
not right. He
potential.
was not
point
meeting.
was,
He was
yeah.
not meeting up to
his
what
potential.
his potential of.
But you, on the other hand, had met your potential.
Right.
It was just way down
Right,
the
you're
list,
right. It
way
was
down
like
the
I said,
ladder.
it was a mediocrity.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Hey, listen,
we're
coming
talking.
from your
I
own
think
dad,
we're
that
talking
hurts.
academically. I think
Sure,
what we're talking
yeah.
That
about.
does. That kind of thing
Right,
hurts.
yeah.
Well, they say truth hurts.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, I lived past that.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah, I was wounded. But,
Wounded, but hey, whatever doesn't kill you
Makes
only
you-
makes you stronger.
That was inspirational.
Hey, is that a saying for a superhero? What you just said. Whatever doesn't kill you
I don't-
make you stronger.
It's
Is that
a
Oprah
saying
Winfrey?
from somebody.
It's a
said it.
song.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a song.
Carpenters.
All right. Chris always defers.
When
he always-
in doubt, go
yeah,
with the Carpenters.
I saw a great
Right.
meme several years ago, and it was some like Viking looking dude,
Right.
and the words on the meme said, "Whatever doesn't kill me, better run." And I thought that's the most Viking thing ever.
All right, Chris. What's your first story today?
Yesterday, big news where a judge has indefinitely postponed former President Donald Trump's classified documents trial in Florida. The judge is Eileen Cannon, and the judge cited significant
Come on,
issues.
Eileen.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, okay. I do know that song. But the judge cited significant issues around classified evidence that would need to be worked on before the federal criminal case goes to jury. Here's what America needs to know.
Okay, well, Chris. What is America?
This case,
know?
which President Biden and many other Democrats made a big deal over about how Donald Trump was in possession of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago home, and the world's going to come to an end because he did all this. This case may not actually happen now until after the November election. We could potentially end up in a situation where we have a president-elect who has to go to trial for having classified documents during his first time as president. But nonetheless, I've got some audio here of former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi and a Trump supporter saying what the judge did was the right thing to do in delaying this. Clip 5.
Good morning. Well, Carly, it means that he's going to receive a fair trial, at least in one of the cases. That's the right thing to do. You know, people need to remember in all of these criminal trials and civil trials that he's facing throughout the country, all the rights belong to Donald Trump, yet they're being denied to him in most of these cases. This is exactly what should have happened. Defendants are entitled to as much time as they need to be prepared for trial. I wish Judge Merchan in New York was following what this judge is doing.
Now, speaking of that New York case, that hush money trial will not be in court today. They've been taking Wednesdays off, and that appears to be the case again today. People are talking about what Stormy Daniels had to say on the stand, but there's
And we're
language
not.
there, and I'm not going to share that on American
No,
Family
we're not.
Radio because I value my job.
Right. Well, we don't want to.
We all value
don't wanna
our
gr-
jobs.
We don't want to.
It's kind of sleazy.
Yeah, it's sordid.
Yeah.
So you got two court cases there.
Yeah, and I have a little bit of a question here. Maybe you can explain further, Chris. So the Mar-a-Lago case, this is the document case. Any idea of what these issues are that it's being touted as to why there's a delay?
Yeah, I don't know of anything like specific in terms of like a quote unquote smoking gun or something like that. But the way it's been presented on a few different news outlets, radio wise, is there was some sort of like defense attorneys and prosecutors have to come together before a trial even takes place to share evidence, discuss things, and they have not come to agreement on certain things that will be presented in court as evidence. Therefore, the judge is like, we have to wait to do this.
And I also read where the documents that were seized from President Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence, they're supposed to be cataloged in the order in which they're seized and in which the documents might appear in a box, and some of those are out of order. Now, I've read...
You're kidding.
Yeah, no. I've read an article or two where it said that's not really a big deal, but it could result in further delays as well as
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of appeals are
issues.
filed on various things, including evidence that was submitted. So that would be certainly something
Listen,
that needs to be done.
This case is suspended indefinitely. Talking about the documents case. Listen, yeah, this goes away. Trump wins, he fires him.
Yeah.
Now he would have to wait till January.
Right.
By fires him, I mean he
Inauguration.
fires the AG, obviously, and he fires Jack Smith, the prosecutor, special prosecutor. If he doesn't win, Trump doesn't win, he's got problems. As far as going forward with these cases, he'll have to go through with them, I guess. So a lot of it hinges on, a lot of his future hinges on whether he wins or not in November. The other case is that state case with Bragg. Anyway, up there in New York, and we're not going to. Again, that was yesterday's testimony was the woman Stormy Daniels, who said she had a fling with President Trump. President Trump says no, we didn't. Don't know anything about that, and she gives sordid details of their meeting. Alleged
liaison,
right? Which he says never happened. So I don't, that's, but her details of that were sordid, and that's a mess. We said if the women were called to testify, it was going to be a 3-ring circus,
right?
And that's what it's turning into be. So we'll see what happens with that. Does that go on today? Does that continue today? Or
no? There's nothing in the hush money trial today, but that will resume tomorrow. They've been taking Wednesdays
when will
off.
The trial hush up?
Well, they told Trump a couple of days ago, the judge, when he reprimanded Trump again for violating the gag order, finding money and all that, he said, you are expected to appear in court for the next 2 weeks. So we could be talking about this.
A lot of this, I think, was just to try to embarrass Trump. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The problem with that is he doesn't get embarrassed.
No.
Right.
He, for better or worse, Trump has no shame.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't because narcissists don't have shame. Okay, I'm just telling you the truth. Right. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
I think it's important that he wins. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just doing a psychological analysis of the situation, and I was told by multiple people, narcissists don't admit to being wrong.
Right.
Okay. Never. Don't let them see you sweat. And that's his modus operandi.
Okay, so let me ask you here. Okay, now you just said something about
what did I say?
People not admitting when they're wrong.
Right.
Now, my wife and I, we have been married for 43 years. If she's never admitted that she's wrong, or can I go home today and say,
no.
Tim said.
No. You're on the back end of your life. you don't need that. Okay? And you know the answer to your own question.
Yes, I do.
Huh? Wesley knows that. It's been married
11
years. He knows that.
I'm coming up on 20.
Okay, you know that. We know this.
Yes.
You know that 5 years in. Easy.
Yeah. Okay. I was just.
I know.
My wife has been wrong a lot. Let me just say that on national radio.
I'm backing. Yeah, I'm not going to.
All right.
I know this is not great for radio, but all of these trials that Trump's going through, you reach a point where you just come to the. For me, I know we got to talk about them because they're in the news, but it just seems like ultimately they're all very shallow, and there's not much there, and I know. Not much there. No more than the analogy you've used before, and this is like somebody getting a speeding ticket that's going 68 and a 65.
Well, yeah, they're out to get him.
Yeah,
right.
And it's like that almost in every case, and so it's kind of hard to. It's hard to keep up with everything because they're constantly digging.
I've said this before. With some of this, it's a witch hunt, as Trump says. The problem for Trump a lot of times is he dresses up like a witch.
Yes. Yes.
So listen, they're out to get him, and there's no question about it. I mean, they've said that, right? By they, I mean
before they started the trial. Yes, the judge did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're right.
Fonnie Willis in Georgia, Alvin Bragg in New York. They just said, "You elect me, I'm getting them."
Yes.
I'll tell you what I mean real quickly by Trump sometimes dresses up like a witch. All right. In that documents case down there in Mar-a-Lago, I don't know if he's guilty or not, but he kept those documents when a federal judge gave him an order to return them, and he said, "I ain't doing it because I'm paraphrasing now, because I was the president and I can keep whatever I want."
Right.
Okay. The court case that they're going to go to is deciding who's right in that situation. Is it Trump saying, because he said, I told the National Archives the only way they could ever have it back is they said, please, 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 please. Those were Trump's words.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Sure.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, you got to be willing to go to court if they charge you, if you defy a federal court order.
Sure.
And so that's the situation. Trump says, I can keep them all day, every day. They say, no, you can't. So they're going to have to go to court to figure out who's right.
Right.
And whether he deceived them in hiding them or not. I don't know whether he did or not. I'm just telling you that's the situation where he potentially got himself into trouble.
Yeah.
All right, so enough Trump trials. There'll be more to come.
All right. Well, the current president of the United States,
Who's that?
Joe Biden.
Does he know this?
Some days I do think he does. But he's going to be in Chicago today
Really?
because I don't know if Joe Biden is aware of this, but he is running for re-election this year. And so Joe Biden is going to be in Chicago today for a fundraiser. Kamala Harris is going to be in the city next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. But the point of this story, the reason I bring this up is because not every voter in Chicago is rolling out the welcome mat for one President Joe Biden, including black voters. I've got a couple of ladies here. One is Betty Geider, and another is P. Ray Inslee, who is a voice you've heard on AFN.net. Chad Groening has interviewed P. Ray a few times. But Betty Geider and P. Ray Inslee are black female voters in Chicago not happy with Joe Biden. Clip 3.
So many of our black members have decided to change over, to switch from blue to red. And I think it's kind of too late now to come to Chicago to appeal to us. It's nothing here for him. We are fed up, as Ms. P. Ray said, with all the things that we're dealing with here in Chicago. This has been a very dysfunctional city for a while up under this party. And the people here are now fighting back, especially the black community.
I think that they're definitely going to vote for Donald Trump because we can't afford to keep subsidizing the illegals who are coming here. I believe our mayor said that we're going to get $5,000 a month this summer. So that's only going to exacerbate our issues and the frustrations that the people currently have. People are proudly stating that they're going to vote for the first time in their lives, and they're going to run to the polls to vote for Donald John Trump Sr.
For anybody that's wondering, Illinois has 19 electoral votes in this coming election.
That ain't changing.
Which one?
Illinois is not going for a Republican president. And I'll stake my coffee on that right here and now.
Okay.
So you can forget that.
Yeah,
Is that what we're talking about?
No, not necessarily. What I heard there is that there are blue voters that are switching to red voters. They didn't
that was
say
the
that.
black voter. You saying they're blue?
They're
black and blue.
They're black and blue.
Okay.
The
Black voters that normally vote blue.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
what I was hearing was there were many of them saying, I'm over this. I've done it once. I'm not doing it again.
Right.
I'm going to vote red. I didn't hear there that there was enough of them to switch.
Right.
To,
No, not Illinois.
Not Illinois.
Right, yeah. No, that could be true. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could have a. You could. In other words, what you're saying is, according to these ladies, you could have more black voters voting for Trump than you would Biden
In Illinois.
or Republican over Democrat than normal.
Compared to 2020, for example.
because of reasons like the economy and illegal. I tell you what, it would be interesting to see what will happen with these illegal immigrant cities where they're flooded, like Chicago, for example. But you know what? We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I think the more likely would be in a local race like Chicago, they would just vote for a less liberal Democrat.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Usually, yeah.
saying? But anyway, on a presidential election, this goes to show you though how weak Biden is.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
He's really weak as a candidate.
Well,
and he's got people saying they're not going to vote for him who may vote for Robert F. Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
They may not vote for Trump, but it'll hurt Biden.
mm-hmm.
If he needs every vote he can get.
I want to make a little bit of a prediction right
All right,
here.
you make it.
And I want to be on the record at the same time.
Absolutely.
So
this can come back to haunt you.
this
Yeah.
is
You
very
know.
much. I don't think this one will. But
Better
but
not
you're
go on
right.
the
it very
record
well
saying
could.
Chelsea was ever wrong about anything.
I will not do
You need
that.
to let bygones be bygones.
That's
Go ahead.
all right. So the beginning of 2024,
Uh-huh.
YouTube lifted its bans. It's banned on people on YouTube questioning the integrity of the election. Okay,
All right.
going into 2024. Why would they do that? Why would they not just keep it the same as they did from 2020 when they started? They were demonetizing people, and they were going in there putting their own information in there behind people who were questioning the integrity of the election, that were pointing to the irregularities and all that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, not to get too far into what we've shared our position on that. So we think some was legitimately done wrong. Some were like
Questionable.
And then some of it was just a distraction from some of the bigger issues at hand. But why would we lift it at 2024?
Knowing you.
Why? Who would lift what? You talking about YouTube?
YouTube.
Yes. Removing the restriction on people complaining about an
Now you
election
can do
being
it.
illegitimate.
Now you can do it.
So knowing you, Wesley, knowing that you're a
Uh-huh.
suspicious source,
Right.
you are suggesting
Yeah.
that YouTube has lifted this ban because they expect Donald Trump to win.
Yep.
And they want people on YouTube saying
Be able to.
the election was stolen.
It was rigged, stolen, all
rigged.
the words.
To Ed's point, 2016.
Well, to Wesley's point.
Well,
Yes.
yeah. Well,
because I'm
Ed's
on the
point
record.
about
Now,
Wesley's
you're on the
point.
record.
Hillary Clinton was bitter, still is, about the 2016 election. And
Scorned
she
woman.
said for a long time that Donald Trump was elected because of Russia, hackers and all
Illegitimate
that other stuff.
president.
Yes.
Right.
Even Letitia James, in a soundbite that Steve Jordahl put together, we've aired it a few times. I don't have it today. But Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, in a soundbite we've aired on the show, referred to Donald Trump as a illegitimate president. So Democrats can question an election, but not Republicans. If you do, you're a knuckle dragger, caveman, homophobe, racist.
It was
But
over
Democrats,
2.5
it's
years
okay for
in,
them.
Hillary Clinton
Right.
still said that it was stolen, it was illegal.
And to the point that's been made here, now back to the
Yes.
whether blacks will vote en masse for Republicans. You remember there's been on several occasions here in the last couple of election cycles, not necessarily presidential, but remember Lori Lightfoot, how despised she was in Chicago? She was so unpopular.
Former mayor.
Former mayor of Chicago. And I was one of those. A lot of people thought, well, maybe they're going to turn to a Republican.
Sure.
In Chicago because they're tired of all the bad policies. Well, they elected Brandon Johnson,
Yes.
who in a lot of ways, as mayor of Chicago, is to the left of Lori Lightfoot. So to your point, Tim, I think you'd have to have several election cycles where black voters were turning away from the Democratic Party to convince me that there was some major shift underway for the black community away from the Democratic Party to the Republican.
Now, if you just single out the upcoming presidential election, Trump v. Biden, I could see more African American voters going for Trump that would normally go for a Republican, just because of how weak Biden is.
But I don't. To your point again, I don't think that's going to turn Illinois red.
No,
but it might in swing states.
Yeah.
It might
just make a difference.
Might make a difference.
Yeah.
Black unemployment was much lower under Trump than it currently or has ever been under Joe Biden.
And not just unemployment, with inflation much lower under Trump.
Oh yeah.
People just going to buy groceries in the inner city or putting gas in their cars. This makes a huge difference.
All right, we're going to take a short time out right here. We'll be back with more of Today's Issues. That's the name of this show on the American Family Radio Network. Dr. Alex McFarland will be with us coming up in just
Thor.
Huh? Is he
He's
Thor?
Thor.
Thor.
Who's Aquaman?
Alex Thor McFarland will be on with us.
It's my turn. here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
As he said this, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle and anointed the man's eyes with the clay, saying to him, Go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. The pool of Siloam is to be found in the southeastern section of Jerusalem. Today it is outside the walls around the old city. In the time of Christ it was inside the city walls. In fact, it was the water source for the city in time of attack. King Hezekiah, seeking a water source for use by the city under attack, cut a tunnel some 1,750 feet from the spring of Gihon to the pool. The tunnel was cut through solid rock in order to bring water inside the city walls. The tunnel was one of the most amazing engineering feats for water supply in the biblical period. Two groups of workmen began at opposite ends and worked toward the center. Using hand picks, the two groups dug in a zigzag pattern. The pattern resulted in a tunnel 1,750 feet in length to cover a distance of only 1,100 feet. In 1880, two boys were waiting in the tunnel when one accidentally discovered an inscription carved in the rock. The inscription was located about 19 feet from the pool of Siloam. The inscription, one of the oldest Hebrew inscriptions known, contained only 6 lines. They were beautifully cut in classical Hebrew. The inscription told how the two groups managed to meet in the middle. The slab containing the inscription is today preserved in the Turkish Archaeological Museum at Istanbul. The pool's name, Siloam, meant sent. The name is symbolic of the water being sent through the tunnel into the city. The pool is an open-air basin and measures only about 20 by 30 feet today. It was to this pool of Siloam that Jesus sent the man who had been blind since birth. You will recall that John makes no mention of the man requesting his sight, but after Jesus spat on the ground and made mud, which he applied to the man's eyes, Jesus told him to go wash in the pool. The man did as he was told. It was here in the clear, clean water that the man born blind first saw what he looked like. The religious authorities called the man in to question him about the event. After much questioning and debate, the authorities attempted to pin the label of sinner on Jesus. The healed man would not get involved in their theological arguments. He presented his case by speaking what he knew was fact. I do not know if he is a sinner or not. One thing I do know, I was blind, and now I see. You know, you can't argue with that. Just prior to the healing of the man, Jesus had said to him, I am the light of the world. After he could see physically, the man again came into contact with Jesus, and so for the second time Jesus healed him of his blindness. For on the second meeting, Jesus healed him of spiritual blindness. Many who visit the pool of Siloam today recall that event recorded by John in his gospel, and they also are able to say, Once I was blind, but now I see.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Jeremiah 29:13.
American Family Radio. This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Wes, do you want to tell people how they can, the various and sundry ways that you can engage with this show?
I don't mind, but then I'm also giving away how much Ed has influenced and rubbed off on me because I can't help but to say that their internet.
Yeah.
And I can't help it.
That was Ed's
You have-
expression. He coined that. That their
Yes.
internet.
That their internet.
Yeah.
Don't you? I mean, I appreciate you rubbing off on me.
Well, I think he basically he just
It sticks.
he was mocking rednecks.
Yes.
Is what he was doing.
Yeah,
and-
because nobody's ever mocked me.
Yeah.
Immortal words of Greta. How dare you?
That there.
There.
That their internet.
That there.
But
Anyway.
I do like that a lot, though, and I really like it a lot. You can go to AF.
Wesley, you don't have to fake Southern accent. You just go straight up
That's
with your own.
right.
You went on
People know
Forrest
where
Gump
you're
on us.
from, my
That's
friend.
right.
Forrest Gump.
Hey, and when your kids do it, it's even that much more obvious. And
When they fake.
no, when they just have a deep Southern.
Oh, yes.
A couple words are real
Like
deep.
Paula
Southern.
Dean, you can't pretend like that's
yes,
real.
yes. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but Bennett has my oldest son, my only son, who's 8, which is our oldest child. He's got his couple of words that you just go, oh my word. There's no doubt you're from Mississippi. All right, here you can go to, for those who are listening, you can go to afr.net, or you can go to our YouTube channel called Today's Issues Live, or you can go download the app, AFR app, or you can go to our stream.afa.net, stream.afa.net. Those are the four primary locations where you can catch the audio here. Another reason we give you those locations is because you can go back and listen to any of the shows that you would like to archive live. Plus, there we have all the other podcasts throughout the day as well. So all our radio content is stored there. Plus, you can listen to those locations 24/7 anywhere you are. You don't have to be at a terrestrial radio station as well.
Okay, and then so I'll make fun of myself here, okay?
For it.
You can also go to X, formerly known as Twitter, okay? And then you just search for AFI. Search for AFI.
In the Boston area.
Somebody's going to type in AFAH.
Yes.
AFI.
Yeah. What is it? So you're going back to your Boston, your Boston days there, which the Bostonians definitely have their own.
Oh, they do.
Have their own way of communicating.
And
I like the
it's
commercial.
wicked awesome.
Is it Heineken or what?
You mean Dunkin' Donuts?
Your cousin from Boston.
Oh,
What commercial is that?
Yeah, that's some kind of beer commercial.
Your cousin from Boston.
Your cousin from Boston.
Say Harvard. Say Harvard.
Boston.
Say park your car in Harvard Yard.
Park your car at Harvard Yard.
There you go. What are you talking about?
Why is that? Is it the like a Irish population and it's like influence on the
How do we get here?
language? Or?
We don't have time for that.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Really?
All I know is that in New England, you get rid of R's, I's, where you typically find them, and you add them to words where you don't. So you park the car, but you have a good idea.
We just draw it out and add a few syllables.
Yeah. It's. Hey, I know a guy who's traveled the country and can probably tell you a lot of different accents, and that's our own Alex McFarland. Good morning, brother Alex.
McFarland.
Good morning, everybody. This is really great radio.
Yeah. Well, you've traveled the country. You've been up in New England. How far out does that Boston? Ed just said, how far out does that go? New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine.
Well, the upper Northeast, they've got that northern brogue, But you know what people say to me all over the country, and I was just in Wisconsin, so just in Indiana. But people say, we listen to AFR. All of you all sound so friendly. And I guess that's kind of a nice way of saying that we have a southern accent.
Well, we're in Mississippi, and we're the hospitality state.
There you
so
go.
why wouldn't we
Indeed.
be? Why wouldn't we be friendly?
That may have been her way of saying "bless your heart."
You're in.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You're in North Carolina there. So, I've known friends I've had that lived in Maine. And they talk a lot like
they do, but there are distinctions
even from
within
Maine
New
to
England,
Boston.
yes.
Yeah. But anyway,
the Boston accent, which I can't do, that it is rather unique, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. All right. So much to talk about, Alex. You've got your summer youth camps coming up. That tell us about them and how people, who's eligible, how people can, what's going to be going on, all that kind of stuff.
Well, praise God. Thanks very much. And let me mention the camps. But first, there is something that everybody might want to know about. We are going to be June 7 through 9 in Texas. We're doing one of our Truth for a New Generation conferences. And it's at my website, which is alexmcfarland.com under events. There's a church called Rose Heights Church in Tyler, Texas that we'll be at. And, guys, I give God the glory. I just was in Florida, and a group of AFR listeners from Idaho came all the way to Florida. I was just recently in the Plainview, Lubbock, Texas area, and a group drove 9 hours. And so, wow, people are willing to travel many miles to come to these events. But we're going to be doing a conference in Tyler, Texas, June 7 through 9, just biblical worldview and how we can help, contribute to the restoration of our country. May 17th,
so that's for adults and kids?
That's for all ages. And we've got, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for all ages. In Tyler, Texas. Okay. But even this month, May 17 through 19, I'll be doing a Truth for a New Generation Apologetics Biblical Worldview in Bentonville, Arkansas. We'll be at Boundless Grace Church, Pastor Josh Ramsey, wonderful, great people, lots of AFR people in Arkansas. But that's at my website, which is alexmcfarland.com as well. And guys, the summer camps that we do, which we partner with a ministry called Reasons for Hope. We've worked with them off and on for 20 years, great people. And in fact, I just yesterday was working on the workbook for the camps that is full of apologetics. And basically, we're trying to help kids not only know what they believe, but why they believe it. Now, here are the camps we'll be doing this summer. Montana, Temple, Georgia, Marietta, South Carolina, Elgin, Illinois, Indiana, New Jersey, and Colorado. And
list those again now. These are all this summer?
Yeah, all summer long. And, we work on this for about a year. All right, June 2 through 7, Montana. June 23 through 28, Temple, Georgia, which is not that far from AFR. But then July 1 through 5 will be in Colorado. July 21 through 26, Marietta, South Carolina. June 2 through 7 will also be in Elgin, Illinois. Will be in West Harrison, Indiana. And will also, August 19 through 23, be in Hewitt, New Jersey. And guys, let me just say this. Out of 1,200 middle school and high schoolers that will attend these, about 25% will make a salvation decision and accept Christ as their Savior. The other 3/4 they have a relationship with Christ. We try to help them grow and get strong. But here's what's unique. We talk about not only the gospel, obviously, but we talk about America. And guys, let me just say this. I know that our home is in heaven, and we are living for Christ and the day we get to heaven. But we got to restore America, and we're trying to impart to these youth patriotism, Mm-hmm. And every now and then I'll have pastors, and look, I've pastored 2 churches, spoken in 2000, literally, and I know the dynamics of the pastorate, but pastors will piously say, "Oh, brother Alex, our home is in heaven. God did not call me to save America. Mm-hmm. God called me to save souls." Well, of course, I understand that. But look, until we get to heaven, where are we going to live? And we got to get some patriotism, and let's try to instill within these young people a love, yes, of the Lord Jesus, but a love for America and the belief that God can use our lives to restore this nation. That's part of our message.
Well, and Alex, when I'm told something like that about our home is in heaven, we don't need to waste our time down here, working on anything temporal, I always want to, and I do on occasion if I get the chance, I'll say, well, if you're a pastor, if your roof leaks, do you fix it? If your car engine light comes on, do you take it to a mechanic? Well, why? I mean, our home is in heaven. Why waste your time with something temporal
fixing
like
the car?
Yeah, fixing the car. Well, you fix things that are important to you down here on earth because they're a gift from God.
Yes.
And I don't know why you don't try to fix the republic.
Right.
Or fix
that's
your
called
communities.
That's called dunking on someone.
Yeah.
Or
You just
mic
dunked
drop.
on that person.
Or
That's
mic drop.
awesome.
Yep. All right. So the how to find out these camps you listed?
Just go to my website, alexmcfarland.com.
And those are for teenagers.
They are for teens. But, when church groups come, obviously adult chaperones are welcome. And last year, this was so special. In Mississippi, there was a church, and to make the budget, this pastor, they canceled the lawn care service to save enough money, and the pastor was cutting the grass and doing the landscaping himself. I called him up, and I'm trying to remember. It'll come to me.
Saving money for what? To send their kids to your camp?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
And so I called the pastor, and I said, "Hey, this is Alex." And he shouted to his wife. He said, "Honey, get on the phone. You'll never guess who it is." And I said, "Listen, I want to come to your church and just in person say thank you that they did their utmost and brought like 30 kids and half a dozen adults." And guys, I'm telling you, the Lord is moving in America's young people. I know we hear a lot of bad news, but I'm telling you, these kids, we teach the gospel, we teach biblical worldview, we teach about America, and these kids, they embrace it eagerly like cool water on a hot day. And I want to challenge everybody listening. Look, in your Sunday school, in your youth group, maybe you have 3 teenagers, maybe you have 50, it doesn't matter. But teach them God's word. They are hungry for truth. I really believe that.
Hey, Alex, this is Wesley here. I want to get your quick comments on what's happening on college campuses, not all, but some, or most, where the students are respectfully but firmly in opposition to the support that Hamas is getting on these college campuses.
Wow. Well, there's a struggle over our campuses, obviously. And Wesley, I appreciate you so much. Hey, I want to speak to this, but I got to tell you, Wesley and I have spent a lot of time together fellowshipping around the Word of God. And, brother, I'm so impressed with you. And
I appreciate that.
Amen.
You are such a man of God.
Well, where do you get that from?
Well, he had good parents.
Oh, what? No, I wasn't looking for that. Alex,
way to go, Allison.
I didn't even know my mic was on. I'm sorry. That was just a thought out loud.
Yeah, thinking out loud there.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
I think about Chapel Hill, where my sister went to UNC Chapel Hill, and I've spoken there before. But there were students that protected the American flag after the pro-Palestinian protesters ripped it down. Interestingly, they say that one of the very first, maybe the first student who protected the flag at UNC Chapel Hill was a student that originally grew up in Russia. So it's interesting how sometimes those that are not native-born Americans sometimes have a bit more patriotism than. Mm-hmm. But
let me just say this too, Alex. Talking about these student protests that have been on campus the last 3 or 4 weeks that we've seen in support of Hamas and against Israel. Let me just say this: they've gotten a lot of attention, and it's been, I'm guessing, 40 or 50 campuses maybe had something going on, but it's been a tiny percentage of the students. Okay, this is good news. This is good for a tiny percentage of the students, and with that, we've found that half of them are professional agitators.
Exactly.
That are paid for by George Soros. So while, yes, the professors on college campuses, that's who you should be probably more concerned about than the students, because they're the ones who have influence on the students, and they're there year after year after year. And many of them are far lefties, and that doesn't mean they necessarily adopted a pro-Hamas position, but we're finding out now that, some of them have.
Do you remember during the BLM riots, and they found a skid of bricks was conveniently shipped into street corners.
Yes.
And the agitators were smuggled in. That's how it is on these campus protests, that many of the rioters and protesters are ringers paid. I read a story just a few days ago about people that were given $50 apiece to show up at a rally for 2 or 3 hours. But in Chapel Hill, some of the faculty, and look, I've been around the block in terms of American secular higher education. So many of these faculty, and look, folks, I have a degree of respect for education, but I want to tell you, so many of these faculty, and I know I've interacted with hundreds of college professors, interviewing them for books, speaking, debating. Many of these faculty that are so liberal, I mean, they're like to the left of Hillary Clinton. And they're teaching our kids. Well, at Chapel Hill, some of the faculty are saying that they're going to withhold grades, end-of-term grades, unless these students are given amnesty. Well, this is the time that we thin out the herd and do some firing. Mm-hmm. But see, so many colleges can't because there's tenure. There's this terrible thing called tenure. Just like there should be term limits for congressmen, there ought to be I would encourage colleges to not give tenure to these liberals that get ensconced. They teach lunacy, and they can't get fired, and they know it. Mm-hmm. And that's part of what's wrong.
Yeah.
But, I got to say, we have to have an ethic of truth, an ethic of courage, but an ethic of standing with Israel.
Hey, Alex, let me ask you this. Are there still some very strong college campus ministries out there that you're aware of?
There's Ratio Christi. A lot of people don't know this. My wife and I, with one other person, started Ratio Christi. Now,
is that like Harry Krishna? What is that?
Now, Ratio Christi is Latin for the reason of Christ.
Oh.
And we started this about 16 years ago. The first 2 years, my wife and I, to God be the glory, funded it out of our own pocket. And it is really an apologetics ministry. And in terms of biblical worldview, it's really good. I've not really been involved with Ratio Christi for about 10 or 12 years. And so the degree to which they would include like a David Barton, Bill Federer, pro-America quotient, I really don't know.
Well, when I was in college, you had Campus Crusade for Christ. You had the Baptists had their own, and it was big. The Baptist Student Union. You had, at that time, the Wesley Foundation, which was, that's before the Methodists really started going wackadoodle liberal. Mm-hmm. And then you had the...
I like that word.
Yeah, wackadoodle liberal. Not just liberal, but wackadoodle liberal.
Hey, really?
And then I've forgotten some others. You had some others maybe that were out there. But I remember Campus Crusade for Christ was pretty big. Of course, they changed their name to Crew. I don't know why they did that. But anyway, so I just wondered if there's anyone, do you have any interaction with any of the campus ministries anymore?
I've spoken, I used to speak very regularly for Campus Crusade for Christ, InterVarsity, Navigators.
InterVarsity, that was another one. Navigators, yes. Okay, now they're coming back to me. You're mentioning that.
And let me just say, I honestly think that you have to take it on a chapter by chapter basis. BSU, Baptist Union. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are good ones. There are not so good ones.
Gotcha.
But folks, you have to understand, even down in Bible Belt America, wokeness and critical theory, and maybe this is another conversation for another day, but I cannot overstate how the presuppositions of critical theory,
critical race theory,
CRT, there are the oppressed and the oppressors.
Yep.
And basically, if you've got a shirt on your back and food on the table, you're an oppressor.
Yeah, that's what you're saying is that kind of stuff is infiltrated even conservative campus ministries.
Exactly.
The woke stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know. I've heard about it. Yeah.
Let me encourage churches pray about it and try to do some outreach to college kids, especially, internationals. Just offer a meal. Here's one good thing about the church. I mean, when you have food, college kids will come, and then you can teach them the Bible.
Yeah, especially if you're in a campus town. I mean, you're in a college town. Alex, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you being on with us this morning. And so, Alex, can you name the what do you call those things?
Superheroes.
Marvel superheroes. Yeah, the Avengers, you mean?
The Avengers. Alex, go. Avengers are who?
The Avengers would be like, I can see their pictures. I can't even call their names. Captain Marvel, Captain America. Who's the guy made out of rocks?
The Thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, Alex.
I failed.
Yeah, I know. I would stop right there because Ed, he rolls his eyes.
Yeah,
that's the Fantastic Four. You're talking
Marvel.
about the Thing. And even though they're Marvel characters, Alex, they were not a part of the Marvel Cinematic
Yeah, and Alex, you're going to be teaching our teenagers this summer?
I don't know.
Is this like
Spider-Man
or something like that?
Is this like Spider-Man? See, I told you, just stop.
Just stop right there where you are.
Hey, forgive me for not knowing what's in the comic books. I was reading the Bible.
That was a shot back at us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's...
All right, Alex, take care. Thank you.
All right,
God bless you guys.
Okay, that's Dr. Alex McFarland. You can hear him this afternoon.
As he's exploring the Word.
He's exploring the Word.
Instead of the comic book world.
Right. Dr. Alex McFarland. That's all you say if somebody, if you don't know you don't have a good comeback, just say, well, I don't know because I was reading the Bible.
I was reading the Bible.
That shuts up the conversation.
Sure does.
There, so.
What's funny is there are now like translations of the Bible which are done as comic books to reach people that don't like to read a book. So they try to use comic books to teach. Yes, you can get like a graphic novel Bible. Basically.
Well,
you can get a what?
Like a graphic novel is like a fancy pants word for comic book.
I'm laughing at everyone's...
The whole Bible?
I'm laughing at everyone's expression.
Yeah, there's like
not at the Bible.
a picture Bible. Beyond the pictures. It's
animated.
It's like a comic book, but it's the Bible.
The whole Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
I have a hard time with that one, Chris.
No,
you got to bring that in to show me too. I'm not calling you a liar.
Yeah, I got you. Let me try to find the name of it.
Yeah, you find
it. There was a pictorial version. It's not the whole Bible, obviously, because you can't.
Yeah, it's called a children's Bible.
The Action Bible.
Yeah, the Action Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't draw Isaiah, but like all the parts, like the history part, even of the Old Testament, Exodus, or some of those. There were versions that were pretty artistically rendered with quotes from the
okay, what I'm thinking about
Joshua,
is some kind of a chapter by chapter illustration.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you couldn't have that.
Okay, yeah. Wesley's showing us what Chris is talking about, and that's pretty. Yeah, I see. What's that called?
That's the Action Bible. What I'm talking about is not this. The Action Bible.
Is that a computer?
Probably updated. Yeah, he's holding a computer.
Okay, the Action Bible. No, I mean.
No, I know.
You're talking about Wesley holding the computer up to show us here, but I'm talking about. Is this? This isn't a physical book that you turn the pages.
Yeah, it's both.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Because we live in 2024,
okay.
So you can do digital.
Well,
and
I grew up with the illustrated. My dad had a whole collection that he used for us.
Bible.
Yeah, they're stories. They're biblical stories with pictures drawn that are character.
That may be what I'm talking about. The illustrated Bible. That sounds like the name of it.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. We're going to take a short time out right here, Chris. What you added to this hour cannot be overstated.
Thank you.
No, really. You deserve free popcorn.
Okay.
So go out there and get you some.
I will be walking
it's right
past
out
it.
There. It's right out down the hall. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
All God asks of you is faithfulness. Headlines in USA Today. Did you see it this morning? All the odds are against us. Faithfulness is the word.
There's a place for you on the battle line. Engage in the fight for America's families. Visit AFA.net and then take your position. A message from the American Family Association.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. A House Education Subcommittee examined claims of anti-Semitism at K-12 schools today. Speaking at the hearing, Florida Republican Congressman Aaron Bean says anti-Semitism is now coming from an unexpected source.
Some kids as young as second grade are spewing Nazi propaganda, which begs the question, who has positioned these young minds to attack the Jewish people?
President Joe Biden visiting Chicago today, but he's not receiving a warm welcome from a lot of people there. There was a time when the black vote would have been a sure thing for the Democrat incumbent, but Chicago resident Betty Geider says not anymore.
So many of our black members have decided to change over, to switch from blue to red. And I think it's kind of too late now to come to Chicago to appeal to us. It's nothing here for him. We are fed up, as Ms. P. Ray said, with all the things that we're dealing with here in Chicago. This has been a very dysfunctional city for a while up under this party, and the people here are now fighting back.
And Chicago resident P. Ray Easley says a lot of black people will vote for Trump because they're sick of being lied to.
I think that they're definitely going to vote for Donald Trump because we can't afford to keep subsidizing the illegals who are coming here. I believe our mayor said that we're going to get $5,000 a month this summer. So that's only going to exacerbate our issues and the frustrations that the people currently have. People are proudly stating that they're going to vote for the first time in their lives, and they're going to run to the polls to vote for Donald John Trump Sr.
A North Carolina family sued their local school board on Tuesday after their son was suspended for his use of the word alien. Central Davidson High School issued a 3-day out-of-school suspension to the 16-year-old student last month after he asked for clarification on a vocabulary assignment in which his teacher asked him to use the word alien. According to his mother, Lee McGee, the student asked his teacher, quote, like space aliens or illegal aliens without green cards. And Central Davidson claimed that was racially insensitive.
Since that time, we have removed him from the school. We have asked the school to handle this privately for weeks. I've emailed the school board for 4 weeks. I've had no response from the school board. And since, we had no resolution, we had no other choice but to file a lawsuit and take this public.
And the family's attorney, Dean McGee with Liberty Justice Center, says the school board is going to regret this.
There's no case for racism. On its face, it's a completely neutral term. Schools are government, and it's important to remember that. So the government has branded Christian a racist, deprived him of his right to an education for 3 days, deprived him of his ability to participate in track, and told him there will be no appeals. It's as clear a due process case as I can imagine. And it's an outrageous suspension with serious consequences.
An organization is providing support for young men and women who lost a father in service to our country.
It's called Life Camp USA, and it's for young men and women who lost a father due to U.S. military, law enforcement, or first responder service. Daniel Craig, director of Life Camp USA, talked about things on today's issues.
Our goal with them is to reach out to these young men who lost a dad through service. And that could be with the military or law enforcement. And we want to help them to just develop that personal resilience to the challenges that they're going to face, helping develop biblical fortitude and restorative healing for what they've experienced. We do that through a week-long camp, all expense paid.
The idea of Life Camp USA stems from the organizers' work with Samaritan's Purse and its Operation Heal Our Patriots program.
We saw a lot of these returning veterans, injured vets, coming back and getting connected with their wives, just trying to have that marriage counseling that brings them back together because they've changed quite a bit since being deployed. And that question came to us of, well, what about those men that aren't returning?
What started with 6 kids in 2021 has now grown to 106 children total. This summer, Live Camp USA is set for 80. I'm Chris Woodward.
More news online at afn.net and the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
Roe v. Wade is history, but sadly, the killing of unborn babies continues. AFA Action works to keep you informed on how you can help close legal loopholes and fight for the innocent. One way you can help is with your gift to keep AFA Action on the front lines in the battle for life. When you give, you'll also get free access to the Monica Kelsey story that details her mission to save abandoned newborns across America. Stop by afaaction.net today. afaaction.net.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildman, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Today's Issues is the name of this program. If you want to download the podcast for this show or any of the shows you hear on American Family Radio, all you got to do is go to afr.net and click on podcast. And then you'll see all the banners for all the shows, and you just click on the one you want to listen to. So there you go. We appreciate everybody who listens to AFR and especially Today's Issues. I'm Tim Wildman with Ed Battagliano, Wesley Wildman, and now Steve Paisley Jordahl joins us. Good morning, Brother Steve.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Watercolors today.
Yeah, it's my multicolored. It's my Joseph shirt.
Yeah.
A shirt of many colors.
Shirt of many colors.
If this were June, I'd be worried about you, Steve.
Well, no, it's not. it's not those colors either.
Yeah, but it's not Pride Month yet.
Hey, I got some before we start on the news kind of thing, some good news for those of us locally here. According to our TV station, WTVA, Elvis Presley Lake in Tupelo is reopening this month. Now, of course, Tupelo being the birthplace of Elvis Presley. The state closed the lake in 2021 for renovations. I have questions. Why do you need to renovate a lake? Was it for a flood or something? Or
I don't know. Sometimes if you have spillover.
The fish were unhappy with the interior decorating.
Why don't you call over there?
I'm a reporter.
Drive over there and see what's going on.
We want a 1 minute news report on this.
Well, you might get it. I don't know.
Can I tell you what? Now you're talking about which lake?
Elvis Presley Lake.
Okay, that's a lake that's designed like a guitar. I know that.
Okay.
It's man-made.
Yeah, man-made.
So did they upgrade it from
it was
acoustic to an electric?
Just a natural phenomenon that happened
That can happen.
Right near where
it happened. When I was growing up, we had the old man in the mountain, in the White Mountains.
I know, right?
Okay, I admit that question came out dumber than I had expected. But you didn't have to jump on it.
Right.
Tim.
I was trying to help you.
No, it's a natural phenomenon. Just like a guitar.
I hesitate to speculate and to start giving reasons why they would.
But you will anyway.
No, because before I know it, I'll get so far into it, I'll start getting fact checked.
Right. We'll end up talking about Kevin Bacon.
Just don't say anything dumb.
But I have heard of them draining a lake.
Yes.
And then
dredging it maybe, or
making some adjustments so that it holds water better.
Right.
And then restocking it.
Right. Right. Not everything's a conspiracy, Steve.
Well, I didn't know. Maybe they change it from an acoustic to an electric lake.
There's a reason. There's a logical explanation for this. Okay. Yeah. We'll find out what it is, though. But anyway, so what's your first story?
I just listened to the soundbite that you asked for earlier today.
Yeah. Which soundbite is that?
So
I got Chris Cuomo.
Yeah, okay. I got
this one up for us.
Oh man. So early in the whole COVID debacle, you remember, obviously we remember well because we got docked for it several times. There were certain things you could and couldn't say, right? Ivermectin was one of the things you couldn't say. Remember, it was a horse tranquilizer.
Right.
And everybody was mocking anybody who decided to take it. It was poison.
We got banned from YouTube.
Yes.
For a long
Just
time.
Talking about it.
Just talking about it.
You're saying what, Ed?
Ivermectin.
It says it loud, proud.
That there ivermectin.
Right.
Well, one of the people mocking I remember him mocking was Chris Cuomo at the time on CNN. And he was mocking along with everybody, talking about a horse tranquilizer. How stupid can these people be? Ha, ha, ha. Well, he is now saying a little something different. Let's listen. I want you to hear cut 10.
I'll tell you something else that's going to get you a lot of hits. I am taking a, what do they call it? Like a regular dose, whatever. They're trying to build up of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin. The real question is why? Everyone's going to say Joe Rogan was right. No, Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, he was right. But that's not what matters. What matters is the entire clinical community knew that ivermectin couldn't hurt you. They knew it, Patrick. I know they knew it. How do I know? Because now I'm doing nothing but talking to these clinicians who at the time were overwhelmed by COVID and they weren't saying anything. Not that they were hiding anything, but it's cheap. It's not owned by anybody, and it's used as an antimicrobial, antiviral in all of these different ways and has been for a long time.
For malaria for over almost 20 years.
Yeah. So, and my doctor, who's now my doctor, was using it during COVID on her family and on patients, and it was working for them. So they were wrong to play scared on that. Didn't know that at the time, know it now, admit it now, reporting on it now. Because I think that's the job. The idea that, well, you were a vaccine proponent. Why wouldn't I have been a vaccine proponent? Now there are questions. Oh, no, but I knew at the time. No, you didn't. What you knew was that there were people telling you to be resistant to what the government was telling you to do.
No, you knew it at the time because your doctor was telling you at the time. And all of the doctors that are telling the truth that we have hearing for now, Peter McCullough, etc., they were telling you at the time. And yet you don't mock somebody when you don't know. He's such a liar. Oh, my gosh. This guy's such a liar.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say my first reaction, though, too, now not hearing the whole thing, the fact that he's changing his mind and is a surprise to me.
Yeah.
That he's reporting on the other the information that at this point is undeniable.
He's saying
most people get quiet,
yeah,
and they move on to another story once they find out they were wrong.
Right.
But he's apparently coming back and setting the record straight. But I do understand what you're saying there.
No, he was saying the main point of that I got out of that, Steve. I'm not, what I'm talking about is he's saying that ivermectin works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has worked for decades and decades, and it shouldn't be something you're trying to act like is some kind of some snake oil.
Which is what I was reporting on at the beginning and what he was mocking at the beginning.
Right.
I listen. I think it's least is a good thing to be, like you're saying, Wesley, is to be telling the truth about this. And there are a lot of people like Cuomo back during the COVID debacle, Steve, as you mention it, who were either terrified, browbeaten, threatened, or who lived in that echo chamber where they just are going to assume that people like us, conservatives, are wrong, and the people they're listening to are right. Okay, so take all that, the Cuomo part of this, and let's set it on a shelf. I want to know, and I think a lot of people want to know, why the government, why the World Health Organization, why Health and Human Services, why hospitals, why the military, we're all conspiring together
to
force people to do things that were not perhaps even dangerous for at least a percentage of people, the vaccine, but also prevent people from taking things that were cheaper. I mean, is it just as simple as follow the money?
Yep.
Or is there something more sinister at work?
Well, it depends on how conspiracy-oriented you are, because some people think that it was a virus that was introduced to the environment on purpose in order to exert control, maybe population control. Who knows what it is? But
interfere with the election. So
interfere with the election. But the most probable cause is exactly what Chris Cuomo said, which you're saying. It's cheap and it's not patented. You don't make any money on it.
Come out ivermectin.
Ivermectin is.
Okay.
Yeah, real quick,
go
Cuomo
ahead.
also, I don't know if it's in the same interview, and it may be, but he also has fully changed his position on the vaccine as well.
Has he really?
What do you call him a liar over, Steve?
That he says that he didn't know, or that he was fooled. He wasn't fooled. He was a bully. He wasn't fooled. He was parroting the government.
But is he not saying he realizes he was doing that now?
He's
He
realizing
regrets
it in the same way that Kristi Noem realizes she shot her dog.
Oh,
Someone's going to realize. Someone's going to say, "Hey, you're taking ivermectin." Oh well, and then if it's disclosed, found out without him disclosing it, then it's even worse. I don't know. I just have no patience because we were.
It's hard to tell.
We were so. Yeah, I know, right?
You just hide it. You hide it so well.
I know. I'm so.
Listen, I read something.
Good self-control.
You're saying that in your opinion he knew better and he did it anyways.
Listen. He's a reporter.
Yeah.
If his doctor, the doctor he has now, and dozens, at least maybe hundreds of doctors around the country were using it, his job is to go look at the data.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't.
You ask, Ed, is it as simple as follow the money? Why alternative therapeutic medicines were not prescribed instead of just the vaccine shot?
Right.
COVID vaccine shot, which was Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson. Those were the three, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, was experimental.
Yeah.
They had to take some back.
Okay. I'm going to try to take the non-conspiratorial view here. And by the way, sometimes conspiracies are right.
Right.
Okay. I guess mine may be a conspiratorial hybrid. Okay, if you can have such. Talking about the COVID and the ivermectin and everything like that. By the way, the part that I am a little conspiratorial about, like Wesley was talking about, election interference. And this is one of those I have no way to prove it, and I said it at the time it was going on. This is awful odd that China, who doesn't like Trump, is let this go. If they did let it go, talking about the virus, the COVID virus, at the beginning of an election year. Remember, it was hitting in January and February.
About 8 months out.
Yeah.
Well, it had started in some places, I think, in the fall.
Yes, and made its way to Italy, and then and remember we were watching.
It was a cruise that landed in the Washington on the West Coast.
The first case was up in the Northeast.
They were talking about as the cruise ship was coming in. They were talking about there was a couple of people.
Yeah, and then the flights came in, but then Trump shut down the flights. But you weren't. There was no stopping it.
No.
The cat was out of the bag.
Yeah, right.
About it. But I'm just saying that I just found it interesting, to say the least, that the timing of the release of COVID. Okay, but let's just put that, as you say, on the shelf.
Yeah.
For just a minute, the rush to create the vaccine, which was we all had high hopes for it, right? Who didn't? We were going like, please,
send this thing.
Yeah, we don't.
By definition, that's a great idea. If you have a shot that's not harmful to a person, that keeps you from getting and spreading COVID.
Yes, and we all knew. We all were familiar with what a vaccine was. A vaccine, by every American's definition, well, not every American, but it's a shot you get to keep you from getting something.
Yes,
right?
that will otherwise hurt you.
Yes, that's a sure vaccine. So number one, they came up with this word. They misappropriated. The medical community, whoever did, they misappropriated the word vaccine here. Okay, because it wasn't a. You can call it a vaccine if you want to, but that's not the way Americans have traditionally understood a vaccine.
Nor is it technically a vaccine at all.
That's right.
Okay, so that was number one. So you're trying to sell this thing as a vaccine, and you should have been told by you. I'm talking about the medical community. Fauci and all of them should have said, you know what? I know this is going to sound terrible, but you should have said, you know what, folks, there's a reason why we're not letting you sue the pharmaceutical companies. And that is, we don't know what's going to happen with this quote they're not going to call it quote vaccine with this vaccine. We're hoping for the best, but we don't know. We don't know what the long-term effects are because there's no way to test it. Why? Because we rushed this thing through. I'm telling you what they didn't say, which would have been more truthful. Okay? But instead we got, this is the answer. Everybody get it or you're a bad person.
Yeah, well, you're killing grandmother.
You're killing grandma if you don't get this vaccine. Yeah. Then we learn months later, they start saying things like, well, no, it doesn't keep you from getting it. No, it doesn't keep you from spreading it.
Right.
Okay, what does it do for sure? We don't know. Myocarditis started showing up?
Their argument was remember, the fallback position was it'll decrease the severity of
and how do you prove that?
Virus.
That's one of those things. That's one of those things. How do you prove that or disprove that? You tell me that. Well, you also told me it was going to stop it from spreading.
Right.
Are you wrong now about it? I know what you're saying, but that was their fallback position because that's supposed to shut off argument.
Right.
But the problem I think most Americans had was it was being forced on people against their will, or they lose their job.
Constitutional issue.
Or they lose their job. That was un-American. That was terrible. That was wrong. But back to ivermectin. So a lot of people began to discover this wasn't snake oil or an old wives' tale. People were really experiencing a difference in their health by
positive benefits
by taking ivermectin. I know somebody who's alive today because they got ivermectin in the hospital.
Yeah.
When the doctors, some of the doctors at the hospital were refusing to give it to them.
Yeah.
One of the doctors said, "Hey, we'll give it a shot. Better than dying." You know, so they lived. What I'm saying is, I think the resistance to the ivermectin was there's no money in it. And these a lot of these companies, they were in
they had already put all their eggs in the
R&R
vaccine basket.
All the R&R, yeah. So that's my own personal opinion. Okay, so that's why the many in the media who like Chris Cuomo at the time who were mocking people taking ivermectin. By the way, as I understand it, you had to take ivermectin. It didn't always work.
Right.
For everybody. I'm not saying ivermectin was 100% successful in stopping COVID. It wasn't, but
treated the symptoms well for a lot of people.
For a lot of
people, the
people,
earlier you got it, the more likely.
Yeah, and I didn't understand. Why are you mocking this? Ivermectin's a Nobel Prize-winning medicine that's been around forever. People take ivermectin to stop malaria or dehydration, things like that. So go ahead.
Well, I don't have it in front of me, but we can get it and we can post. I'll get it and send her and post. I got it saved on my desktop. But there was a study that was done in these countries that had been taking ivermectin. I'm exaggerating, but like candy, they were just taking it daily
during COVID.
No, historically for years
in
for malaria in Africa. And their COVID numbers were radically different than ours, significantly lower than ours.
Yes.
They had ivermectin in their system for many, many years.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I all those things were coming out.
So, you Steve, what you did with that story right there, which I guess I did by sending it around earlier this morning, is you triggered 4 people.
Well, I triggered.
No, you made good.
I
you
got
made
triggered
for good
by
radio. You made for good radio, and
Okay.
I think it's good timing that someone like Chris Cuomo and others are coming around to the fact that we got duped.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you're in the fog of war, as they say, or we were all living this in real time, trying to make decisions. And I remember one of our extended family said to one of our other family members back at the time, they said, "Well, I'm decided not to take the COVID shot." And the other family member went, "So you think you know better than the experts?"
Right.
And how many of us didn't have that going on, even in your families or coworkers or fellow church members? They were going, So you're
but churches. I don't know if they split over it, but there was a lot of hostility inside churches over this issue. You know, whether or not you got the shot, whether or not you.
Right.
And by the way, if we don't get banned for saying ivermectin on this program,
at this point,
I'm going to also say hydroxychloroquine.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There.
Can you spell it?
Hydroxychloroquine.
If you can spell it without looking, I don't know. I'll buy your lunch next week. Go ahead.
You know how many times you've told me you're going to buy my lunch?
And you
I owe you a few lunches.
All right. So,
all right, hold on. Let me look
Okay.
up hydro. What'd you say?
Hydroxychloroquine. I'd have to. Okay, I got a pen. I'm gonna.
Hydrox.
You may can save that for trivia.
I got it right here. Wow.
Drox,
If you can get this, no, I'll buy you dinner.
Oh.
All right.
Steak
H,
dinner.
you
We're
got
talking.
it.
Steak dinner.
Yeah, I got it right.
HYDROXACHLORAQUIN.
You missed it by 2 letters.
I did.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'll spell it for you.
Vowels,
HYDROX.
I said that.
You said okay.
Yeah.
XYDROXY.
Oh, that's where I missed the Y.
CHLORO.
Oh, okay. I missed. Yeah, 2
QUINE.
Oh, I missed
Yeah.
it by 3 letters.
Yeah, that's disappointing. But you,
Okay. All
no,
right.
you,
I'm just glad he asked you.
You gave it a shot.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you gave it a shot. I've never seen that word on Wheel of Fortune. Have you?
No.
Well, you couldn't afford to buy a vowel.
Right,
Yeah, that's right about that.
All right, next story, Steve.
All right. We took on the Boy Scouts yesterday with a Scouting USA, whatever, Scouting America, whatever they're calling themselves now.
Yeah.
Listen, this is a Girl Scouts pamphlet that they hand out to their campers. And it's titled, How Does the Camp Culture Code Affect Me and My Camper? At Girl Scout Camp, our staff is committed to actively building a sense of inclusion for all our community members. We ask all staff, volunteers, parents, caregivers, youth to commit to working towards LGBTQIA+ allyship, anti-racism, and anti-oppression. The Girl Scout movement strives to be a safe place to stand against hate and discuss issues that divide our nation. If you are someone who is not open to participating in anti-racism and LGBTQIA+ allyship work, our camp programs are not a good fit for you and your child.
Where are you reading this from?
This is from a Girl Scouts flyer that they hand out to their campers.
Which is very inclusive.
Girl
Wait,
Scouts.
never mind. It's
Okay, this says Girl Scouts of Eastern Massachusetts.
Well, that's a shocker.
The home ed left, and then they went to the toilet.
Amherst, right?
But yeah, listen, the Boy Scouts of America and the Girl Scouts of America. I know there's still some good people in those organizations, but
It's like the Methodists. You still got some people trying to hang in there, trying to make it work, or trying to figure, trying to hold the line.
Yes, but the woke crowd has gotten control of them.
Yeah,
and if you send your kids to either of these programs, like parents who send their kids off to some of these colleges, don't be shocked when they come back and say, "Mom, Dad, you're a couple of racists because you're white."
Right.
No, don't be surprised.
Right.
If you're okay with that, go ahead and send them.
Right.
Yeah, what was interesting from the story yesterday, we didn't get too far into it, but the fact that the Girl Scouts were suing the Boy Scouts for for allowing women or girls to be part of the Boy Scouts, they were suing on the basis of marketing.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not on
they were taking their business away.
That's what they said. That's what they were saying.
Listen, this is the kind of insanity you
left eats the left.
You fall into when you can't define what a boy or a girl is.
Hey, as we leave, let me just give kudos to MLB Network. MLB Network had a game the other night between Miami and the Dodgers. They put a no-hitter alert up on this game before the very first pitch because the Dodger pitcher was supposed to be good. His name was Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The first
Miami,
I
get that medium well.
The first Miami hitter took the first pitch deep.
Oh, wow.
So much
Are you serious?
First pitch.
Yeah.
First pitch of the game, a home
That's
run.
a lot of pressure.
So much
on a
for the
pitcher.
no-hitter.
Good.
Yeah.
Now the Dodgers have that best player in baseball on their team. I don't know what I forgot how.
Oshadi.
Yeah.
That was a good comment you made. It kind of flew under the radar. You take your Yashimoto medium
Medium.
Medium well.
Medium well.
Yeah.
A little red pink.
That deserved more attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.